It is 101. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The NBA Conference Finals roll on as in the West. The OKC Thunder took down the Minnesota Timberwolves 118-103 to take a 2-0 series lead in that one as the series heads to Minnesota for games 3 and 4. Tonight, the Eastern Conference Finals, game 2 as the Pacers take on the Knicks. Pacers hold a 1-0 series lead. That game is in NYC. Tip-off set for 7 p.m. Tennessee baseball continues in the SEC tournament after their 7-5 extra innings win over 1-seed Texas. Yesterday, they will play 4-seed Vanderbilt at noon tomorrow in the semifinals. In the MLB, Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr. returns to action tonight as the Braves take on the Padres in Atlanta. First pitch scheduled for 6:15. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Later today, me, Blaine, Jackson are going to draft our 5 all-time Titans players for offensive flag football and 5 all-time defensive players for the defensive side of the ball for the flag football. It's a little fun little thing. We're going to do a draft. We'd love to hear from you. Who's some players that you would consider must draft, or even those that you would stay away from, and give us some logic as well. We'll also be joined by Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports as we go around the NFL with him, as we do every Friday. But first,
you have the number 1 pick on that.
I do have the number 1 pick. Jackson has number 2 overall.
And I got last, and you weren't even present to draw your name.
Hey, Blaine, I'm just saying Zach wrote the draft order down on the Post-it notes. I think this might have been rigged.
Well, we had Joseph, a neutral third party, shake the hat.
He did.
There was no discernible markings on any of the things, and I couldn't see into the hat. So
I actually drew first. So.
Yeah,
Blaine he put the number 1.
I was thinking about like how you're thinking.
He put the number 1 Post-it in the freezer first. That way he knew the cold one was number 1.
Oh, is that how it went?
That would make it really wet, and he would be able to feel it because he went first.
Oh, man, I don't know, man. I can't recall.
But listen, like you're getting the player to set up the rules just a little bit. You're getting the player in its prime. No 1-year wonder. So no like when Randy Moss and Andre Johnson and Julio Jones made their stops here. Those guys are off limits. You got to at least have a guy that's been here for at least 2 years on the team.
They were on the Titans team?
Yeah, but they were just 1 year.
Well, I mean, if they were 1 year and not so good, I don't know if they were even
considered their prime, I guess.
Yeah.
But we got a little bit of basketball to talk about because your Indiana Pacers are playing tonight.
Oh, yeah.
But last night was a pretty close game. I mean, it pretty much Oklahoma led the whole way, but it's much closer than game 1, 118-103. Thunder over the Timberwolves. Of course, SGA was named MVP, and then he went 12 of 21 field goals and 13 of 15 free throws for 38 points. And then on top of that, the rest of the team, Jalen Williams had 26 points and 10 rebounds, and Chet Holmgren added 22 points for the Thunder. And, of course, Oklahoma City's Lou Dort was named first-team all-defense. Jalen Williams was named second-team all-defense earlier in the day, and they held Minnesota to a 41.4% shooting percentage. Just couldn't get anything going offensively, even though they did score 103 and it became closer. The Thunder led pretty much the whole way.
Yeah, I was all drugged up. Yeah.
Did you get your neti pot?
No, I did not do that. I just took some medicine with allergies, just going crazy. But man, Ant-Man and crew. First of all, what's the big guy, the tall guy for the Minnesota Timberwolves? He's a non-factor. They need to bench him.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. If they want to win this series or have any shot, he's just not relevant on either on offense or defense, really. That's supposed to be his deal. Well, the guy they traded from Utah Jazz a couple years back. But so they got to get that taken away. And then I think Ant-Man needs to, figure out ways to score, pick his spots, but also help elevate his teammates. Instead of their offense is different. Where you see Shea getting his points, it's within the offense. Yeah, does he do one-on-one every now and then? Yes, because he's an elite player, obviously MVP. But Ant-Man and their offense is built around one-on-one play. Man, I'm going to take you, I'm going to give you all the different things I can do and all this. So I think he needs to do that and make sure he keeps everybody involved and still get his points, and he has to be on fire. And that's why I say he needs to help his other teammates, because there are going to be nights you're not going to hit all your shots, which, he did well, but I felt like he still could have played better. I think that's really the key, but you got to give OKC, I said they were the best team of the last four. They play as a team. They're young, and then they realize not only they're young, but they play defense. You just mentioned they're two defensive players, a second team and third team. That is really their kryptonite. It's their defense against anybody, and that's been consistent all year. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really what's going to get on my hump. And, those guys play well as a unit. I know a lot of people keep talking about, they like one another and everything else. But I think what they're really trying to say is they have chemistry and know how to pick one another up and can play off one another because they played so, together and they know each other so well. I think it's more than, that than, just being close as a unit. I think that's, a missing part in college sports right now with all the NIL and people moving. And remember, we used to stay in dorms and you get to know your guy all the time and you're with them 24/7.
It's just as bad in the pros, too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right, yeah. So it's kind of missing in all parts. So for them saying that, I think that's what they're really meaning. Mm-hmm. I know they hang out and they're pretty tight because they're in commercials together, by the way. OKC. So, yeah, they look really good. I just don't know if Minnesota, if they don't tweak their lineup, I think they may get swept.
Well, they scored Anthony Edwards, you were talking about this earlier, but scored 32 points, but it took him 26 shots to get to 32.
Yeah, he got his points, but at the same time, I just think
wasn't efficient.
He wasn't efficient hitting shots. It was kind of one of those times when you say, oh, Michael Jordan had 35, but it was like, but he wasn't, he was 7 for 21. I remember those games like that. I mean, he wasn't, great every game. I mean, so you got to get, and he figured out that if I don't get my teammates involved, we won't win and I won't have championships. So I think that's the next stage for Andy. He probably needs some little help too, at the same time.
Well, I mean, they didn't close the half very well, according to Minnesota coach Chris Finch. He goes, I thought if we closed the half better, then we don't put ourselves on such a razor edge in the third. And that's pretty much what happens is you have to get some kind of momentum or lead going into halftime if you want to have any shot at taking down OKC right now. Now, listen, they're going to be going to home.
Yeah.
So,
be fired up.
Chris Finch said he's going to remain optimistic. Every minute in a series is a chance to find something. So we're going to go back home. This is a good team at home. So we're going to go home and fight for game 3. Heads up, look at the tape, and get ready for game 3. So we'll see. Because right now, Oklahoma City is kind of looking like Duke in the tournament. They just seem like an unstoppable force now. And I kind of like the matchup that maybe Indiana or the Knicks can provide against OKC. Mm-hmm. I'm just very curious to see, can the Timberwolves find they don't have a Robin. And Dixie put this in my head, is like, you got Batman, but you don't have a Robin. And it's really hard when you don't have someone you can consistently rely on week to week.
Yeah, because Randall,
that other guy.
He's up and down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very interesting to watch this matchup. It still was a good game last week, even though you kind of knew that Oklahoma City was probably going to win because, like I said, they maintained a healthy lead throughout the whole thing. But it'll be interesting to see what the Timberwolves can do to rebound to maybe make this a competitive series, because I would hate for a series to have at least a sweep. I mean, you'd at least like to see all the work that we've seen the Ant-Man do pay off at least in a couple of victories, even if they don't win the series.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. They could go down. I think they're going to start hot. They're going to have the fans behind them this next game. I guess it's tomorrow or so, or a couple days. And then, man, you'll see if they can rekindle some momentum, But, man, it's hard to see it. I'm sure you can muster up a game, but 2, I don't know. Maybe home court help them out a lot. We shall see.
Pacers Knicks is tonight. I mean, do you think that the Pacers are going to be able to carry over that momentum into this game against the Knicks, or do you think the Knicks are going to be all fired up, ready to do some damage at home?
And this is going to be an interesting one because I think all the pressure's on the Knicks. They have to win, and at this point in time, you just don't know if they're going to be able to step up to that kind of pressure in New York. This is a home game, so that's why they have all the pressure. I would assume they would. I think. Remember, I kept talking about pace. You don't want to be frantic with up and down with the Pacers. Now, you have to pick your spots.
Right.
But I just think they did it a little too much, and they got to pick their spots. And that's kind of hard to, figure out. I think they will. So I will pick the Knicks tonight to win. I think they have to win. I still feel like the Knicks can win this series. I want the Pacers to win. I think the Knicks will win this series. I wanted the Minnesota to win, and I think OKC was going because the OKC was the best team as a unit, and I'm really big on best teams instead of just best individual players. But so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But I'll be super excited if the Pacers, because nobody's thinking the Pacers are going to win this series.
Right.
I think they got a great shot, even before this first win, and man, it'll be interesting. It's going to be probably a 7-game series.
Well, I mean, really, to still one at home in the first two games, or still one on the road, I guess I should say, still one on the road from the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden.
Now.
That changes everything about this for this series, because you would more than likely have thought, if you were a betting man, to bet money that the Knicks would start off 2-0 and maybe the Pacers go 2-2, and then you have yourself a series. Mm-hmm. But to still one right there at the beginning of the game, in the way that they did it, it's a little deflating and everything, but let me say something. The Knicks are a resilient team. They have proven to be a mentally tough team throughout this whole season. They're a pretty complete team as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they're going to be very rattled from game one. They're going to come in and they're going to view this as 0-0. This is the first game of the series, is how they're going to kind of view it, and they're going to attack it, take it, and they're going to go 1-1. I think their New York Knicks are going to win. It's going to be 1-1. Heading into Indianapolis, where everything could change for the Indiana Pacers and this rivalry, because they could easily go up 3-1. If they go up 2-0 and the Knicks have lost both their home court games, man, that changes everything about how you feel about this series.
People don't understand that Indiana is all about basketball, and boy, their fans will be irate if they come back 2-0. I mean, they're going to be a ruckus. I mean, the whole city. I mean, man, it's going to be something to behold. So, the Knicks, if that happens, they're in big trouble.
That's for sure. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL with Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. Let's go to the phones and go to Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports, and we're going to go around the NFL with him. And Jordan, I hope you're having a great Friday while the weather is nice all the way till Sunday, because apparently Sunday storms are coming in Nashville.
Yeah, unfortunately, we won't get outside to do our fun holiday weekend activities, it looks like. But I'm having a beautiful Friday, and it's even more beautiful that I get to break down the NFL with you fine folk over at 104.5 The Zone.
Well, the NFL decided to approve the NFL Olympics for flag football for NFL players. And, of course, a couple of NFL GMs have already raised concern about potential injury risk. I know that there are stuff like, oh, you'll get some of your salary cap back or some money back if they were to get injured. But that still doesn't help or mitigate if you get a player that's lost for the season, like a Justin Jefferson or something like that. Do you get the sense that because the NFL is the one pushing this forward, like Roger Goodell and them, and they want that international presence, even though the games are in L.A., but they want that international presence where all eyeballs are on the Olympics, are star players really going to be allowed to play this game?
Yeah, I like where your head's at because, yes, I do think that you're going to see some stars on this NFL Olympic roster, flag football Olympic roster, if you will. But which stars is going to be an interesting question because it was surprising that this resolution passed unanimously with NFL owners. I mean, making more money is what they're about, and they truly do believe that having NFL players play flag football in the Olympics is going to be an incredible thing when it comes to pushing forward the brand with an international audience. But you have to wonder if Lamar Jackson goes to the Ravens owner and says, I want to play, where exactly is he going to be sitting? Is he going to say, I would rather you not play and have you healthy for actually important football, which we pay you to do? Or is he going to be okay with him representing his country in the Olympics? I think that different NFL owners are going to feel differently. But the bottom line is that I do feel like you're going to see stars take the field in 2028. It might be Justin Jefferson, who has been an ambassador for flag football. It might be Tyreek Hill. It could be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. So remember that we're not going to have a player or a star, I should say, from every single NFL team going to the Olympics. I think the rosters are only about 10 players. But again, it will be interesting to see which stars are going to step up and actually take advantage of this opportunity and which owners will allow them to do so.
Were you surprised that the Lions pulled their playoff reseeding proposal? Because I figured it was going to pass.
I was because of a number of different reasons. I didn't anticipate it not having enough support. That is reportedly why the Lions withdrew their proposal. But on top of that, if you believe the reports, the NFL league office is actually the ones who wanted this proposal to be discussed among NFL owners. It seems like there's support from the actual decision makers with the NFL of this potentially passing. But when it comes to the votes with the NFL owners, apparently they're not exactly on the same page. I thought at the very least it was going to be discussed, even if it was voted down. But here's the thing. It's not going away anytime soon. I feel like the NFL playoff structure is going to continue to be debated. It just may happen next year.
I put a little conspiracy hat on with me. I think the NFL allowed the Lions to pull this proposal because they caught wind that the NCAA was going to do their reseeding of their college football playoffs, and they want to see how it works.
Yeah, maybe you're right about that. I mean, I think that the NCAA is probably being applauded for that decision as opposed to criticized. It makes a lot more sense to me. It's something that I would like to see rather than that kind of confusing model that took me some time to actually understand last year. So I'm in favor of that. But with the NFL, I think that there actually is evidence. And listen, first of all, I don't know where I sit in terms of which side of the fence with this debate, but I've heard there's actually good evidence for this move to come to fruition because according to CBS Sports Research, they gave me this information. There have been 12 wild card games over the past two postseasons, obviously, logically. Now, 5 of those 12 games featured a home team with a worse record than their opponent. And those home teams went 4-1. Division winners are 17-15 all time in the wild card round when they have a worse record than their opponent, who is a wild card. So you can't tell me that there's no such thing as home field advantage in the NFL, and I think that's something the league has realized.
We're going around the NFL with Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports.
Well, Jordan, I kind of want to piggyback off the flag football a little bit here and say, In Titans history, a little fun, who is the best flag football player candidate you think would have been an awesome flag football player for the Olympics?
Oh, I love this. Okay, well, Chris Johnson automatically jumps off the page to
No
me.
doubt.
One of the fastest players I've ever seen in my entire life. My gosh, I mean, he's probably one of my favorite Titans of all time because anytime he took the handoff, whether it was on the 1 yard line or the 10-yard line, he was in position to score. He was a home run hitter by all means. The other player I would bring up is one of my other favorite Titans in Titans history, and that has to be Drew Bennett. You know, he was sneaky athletic, good size, good wide receiver, played some quarterback as well. Maybe that gives you some kind of roster versatility. I believe he could play some defensive back as well. Drew Bennett in his prime is someone who I would put on my flag football team.
Love them. I see now Scary Terry is holding out, a Cathedral alum like I am as well in high school in Indianapolis. What do you think is going to happen here? Are they going to give him the dough? He's not at the camp, or is it just still too early to tell?
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you guys went to the same high school. I love Terry McLaurin. He's one of my favorite players in the entire league, just given his story. If you guys remember, when he was drafted in the 3rd round out of Ohio State, people were more pointing to his ability on special teams as opposed to him being a legitimate number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, and he took the league by storm. Now, I think he absolutely is going to get paid. It's kind of been an underrated storyline since he's entering the final year of his deal. He's not trying to ruffle any feathers, but according to Fox Sports, Jordan Schultz, he missed practice this week. And again, since he's entering the final year of his deal, coming off of a career campaign, by the way, you have to imagine that it could be contract related. I can tell you that Adam Peters has addressed this topic before earlier this offseason. You know, he made his love for Terry McLaurin very clear in saying that they have had some good talks with the representations between the two camps. I have all reason to believe that a deal will get done. But what exactly is that contract going to look like? Someone who I immediately look to in terms of a jumping off point might be DK Metcalf with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He got traded from Seattle, signed a 5-year extension with Pittsburgh. It averages around $33 million per year. Is that something that Terry McLaurin, who caught double-digit touchdowns this past season and helped that team make the NFC Championship game, is that something he could be reaching for? Is he worth paying top 4, top 5 NFL money? So that's something to really keep in mind. But when it comes to a deal actually getting done, I do believe that Washington will put pen to paper because you have to remember, Terry McLaurin has been an incredible leader for this franchise on and off the field. And he's someone who I was actually campaigning to leave Washington when he was up for his first extension because the franchise was such a disaster. He decided to stay, decided to cash in. Now the Commanders look like they're contending as opposed to competing. And that's why I believe the Commanders will get a deal done.
Just real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I was going to ask about Terry McLaurin, but I was going to say, you know, of course he has 6 seasons in the NFL, 5 with 1,000 yards, 919 yards his rookie year, 13 different quarterbacks.
Yeah, wow.
Alex
Insane.
Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, Garrett Gilbert, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, Carson Wentz, Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, then Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota, and still was able to get 5 out of 6 years over 1,000 yards, all 6 over 900.
Yeah, that's why I've always thought that he was one of the most underrated players, underrated wide receivers in the NFL. In fact, he's one of just 6 players all time to record at least 900 receiving yards in each of his first 6 NFL seasons. The other players that did that are Hall of Famers like Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. A.J. Green and Mike Evans were a couple of other guys as well. Like Terry McLaurin did that with 300 different quarterbacks with one of the most tumultuous franchises in the NFL. So, yeah, that's why I feel like the franchise holds him in high esteem because he really is one of the more underrated players in sports today.
A converted running back from high school.
There you go.
By the way. Yeah. They came up with a new award for the NFL for the O-lineman, much deserved Protector of the Year. Are we going to start now having each position group have their own title for an award?
I love this, right? A new award for the NFL's best offensive lineman. And apparently this winner is going to be decided by a panel that includes a number of former offensive line legends, but I really do wonder how it's going to be analyzed, right? Like, I would rather it be a more advanced metric award compared to a popularity contest, if you will. And I think you bring up a good point. And there's multiple positions on the offensive line. So how are you going to weigh a center like Creed Humphrey's performance against a right tackle's performance like Lane Johnson or Joe Walter, someone of that ilk? I think that's going to be an interesting question that this panel should be asked. But if you're asking me for someone who I'm going to bet on, without a doubt, to win this award, the first installment of this award, it's got to be Penei Sewell of the Detroit Lions. He was tied in allowing the fewest sacks in the NFL by an offensive tackle last season with just one. He's only 24 years old. He got his third straight All-Pro nod. He's missed just one game over 4 NFL seasons. I think he's the unsung hero on the vaunted Detroit Lions offense. So keep an eye on him to be a favorite to win this new award.
I don't know if you know Irsay, but do you have any stories? He passed away, the Colts community in Indy there. He kind of transformed, a basketball state kind of into football with the success he had and Peyton Manning and everybody. So do you know any, nice stories you hear, about, Irsay? Because he was kind of, he was a little loose out there.
Yeah. I don't have any cool stories. I've never interviewed him, but I will say I was extremely sad to hear about his passing. And
no doubt.
One thing I thought about too is I'm obviously a bit on the younger side, and the kids who are on the younger side will remember Jim Irsay as the kind of crazy guy that refused to fire Chris Ballard and hired Jeff Saturday as an interim head coach and made some questionable decisions at quarterback with Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. But, keep in mind that back in the day, he hired a Hall of Fame general manager in Bill Polian, drafted a Hall of Fame quarterback in Peyton Manning, hired a Hall of Fame coach in Tony Dungy. I think from that first year of that Dungy era to 2010 maybe, the Colts won double-digit games every single year. That was something like 9 straight seasons the Colts won double-digit games. And that, of course, includes their Super Bowl title, which was surely the crowning achievement of Jim Irsay's career. I think it's interesting, his resume and decision-making was only overshadowed by his nature off the field, his memorabilia collection, the fact that he thought he could be a lead singer in a band, and all he did for charity, too. He was a major NFL figure that lived quite a life. The youngest GM at one time, the youngest NFL owner at one time. That in itself makes you an NFL legend, in my opinion. So, yeah, I was very upset to hear about Jim Irsay's passing.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you this because I know you're a Steelers fan. I was just about to go. But Aaron Rodgers, I'm starting to doubt if he's even going to sign with anybody.
Yeah. When are we going to pull the plug on this? When are the Steelers just going to turn their attention to Kirk Cousins or Will Howard or whoever it may be? We're about to turn the calendar to June. And this is a question you and I have been talking about for weeks, if not months at this point. When do the Steelers get tired of waiting around and want to really, truly shift their attention to the regular season as opposed to the offseason? There has to be a breaking point between the Steelers side, in my opinion, unless Aaron Rodgers is just kind of leading them on behind the scenes, which is something I think is very possible, by the way. We know that Aaron Rodgers loves having this attention on himself. But I'm sure there are a lot of people, if not the majority, dare I say, that are just willing to say, you know what, the Steelers should pull the plug. Let's start focusing on the quarterbacks that are here in camp and maybe Kirk Cousins, who is looking for a change of scenery as well.
Nick Sirianni is the third coach to appear in 2 Super Bowls in his first 4 seasons. And at one point, it kind of felt like he may have lost the ship at some point because they had coaches leaving. They had Jalen Hurts was a little discontent. You had A.J. Brown complaining and all this kind of stuff. You had all this stuff going, but he ended up with a Super Bowl victory, ended up with an extension. Talk about a little bit about Nick Sirianni and the Eagles going forward.
Yeah, with Nick Sirianni, I can't tell you I'm the biggest Nick Sirianni fan in the entire world. In fact, I've gone on your show multiple times over the years and talked about how the coordinators they had in place were the most important thing when it came to the Eagles coaching staff, maybe not the lead man itself. And that's something that seemed very true during the 2023 season. But after some turnover, with the coaching staff in 2024, the Eagles got it done in large part due to Saquon Barkley. The one thing I can tell you about Nick Sirianni is that he understands the kind of culture he wants to foster, and clearly that's a culture of success. I think he's a player's coach. I think his players absolutely support him, and you can't really say anything negative about him because his style worked in 2024. I will say the Eagles didn't look like the most dominant team throughout the entire calendar year, but they played their best ball when it mattered most, and that's something that's a credit to the head coach. So I don't know if we're power ranking head coaches. I don't know exactly where I would put Nick Sirianni on that list, but the Eagles have been one of the most successful organizations over the past few years due to their front office, but their head coach found a way to get it done on the field this season, and he deserves credit for that, and that credit came in the form of a new extension this past week.
The 49ers have been busy this offseason. They've extended 3 key players. They've extended George Kittle, Brock Purdy, obviously, and Fred Warner recently. This was a team that was a little confusing after trading away Deebo Samuel. Have these moves and their draft and offseason changed your perspective on their ability to be able to compete in the NFC West, which is very loaded?
Yeah, I don't think it takes them out of contention by any means. I think they definitely have more of a spotlight on them for a couple of different reasons. One is that you pointed to the amount of talent that left the Bay Area over the past 3 months. But on top of that, you also have the Brock Purdy extension, which is going to be controversial in nature. He gets $53 million per year. I think he's tied in being the number 7 highest paid quarterback in the NFL. You know, I'm sure you guys could spend 30 minutes on that. Is that a win for San Francisco? Is that more of a win for Purdy? But, I mean, locking up George Kittle and Fred Warner are almost as important, in my opinion, because Fred Warner is the best linebacker in the NFL, and he's going to be the captain of your defense, a defense which has been great over the past few years, minus some bumps over the past couple seasons, if you will. But Robert Saleh's back in the fold. You look at their draft and where they started off with Mykel Williams out of Georgia, Alfred Collins from Texas, Nick Martin, the linebacker from Oklahoma State, Upton Stout, the cornerback from Western Kentucky, C.J. West, the defensive lineman from Indiana. They really addressed that side of the ball. So if that defense is going to be very improved and Brandon Ayuk can stay healthy, the offensive line can be consistent, Christian McCaffrey returned to form. Listen, I understand I'm talking about a lot of ifs right there, but the 49ers will have a great chance to be in contention. The problem is they share the division with the Los Angeles Rams, a team I am very high on entering this season. I think I'll probably put a little bit of money on them to hoist the Lombardi when it's all said and done with the addition of Devontae Adams. But the 49ers are going to be better than they were in 2024. There's no doubt about that.
You have an article talking about some comments, and this is going to be about basketball. But some comments made by Lakers LeBron James, who believes that the Celtics got bored versus the Knicks because of how great they are. What do you think about that comment and that analysis from LeBron James?
Yeah, do you like that? I'm an NBA writer now for CBS
NBA and hockey. You got hockey up here too.
Yeah, I'm really branching out with CBS. It was pretty interesting writing about that. I thought it was an interesting comment because for a legend like LeBron James to talk about the Celtics being bored almost sounds like a lazy take. But at the same time, you look at how Boston exited the postseason versus the Knicks. They were up 20 points in the first 2 games of that series and ended up losing both of those games as well. So I think that there was some – and this isn't just LeBron James saying this. Steve Nash has said this. There's been some other analysts as well that have talked about how the Celtics kind of lifted their foot off the gas pedal and weren't attacking in the right moments, in the right ways during their postseason run. This has been one of the most successful NBA organizations over the past few years. They won a championship not long ago as well. And they just weren't able to get the job done against a team like the New York Knicks, who almost seemed like a team of destiny, if it weren't for Blaine Bishop's Indiana Pacers, that is. But yeah, I thought it was some interesting comments by LeBron James.
I thought it was interesting that Zach Robinson, the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator, kind of talked about raising the bar for Kyle Pitts in 2025. It seems like they've been trying to raise the bar of his play for a while now since his rookie year. But they want him to play fast and take the thinking out. Talk about that and about Pitt's upcoming value this season.
Yeah, I love coach speak in the NFL because they try to say things without saying them, And I think Zach Robinson did a pretty poor job of saying things without saying them in this comment. If you listen to them, I feel like they're almost pointed remarks toward Kyle Pitts. He was asked specifically about what do you want to see from Kyle Pitts in 2025? And he talked about having that next level of attention to detail, the next level of consistency off the field. And he brought up twice playing fast. Take the thinking out of it. Rely on your athletic ability and play fast. That's what they want to see from Kyle Pitts. And I'm sure that every NFL, fantasy football owner, manager who has Kyle Pitts on their team is probably echoing the same exact sentiments, because in terms of where he was selected in that 2021 NFL draft, you could make the argument that he was a quote-unquote bust. There was a large level of optimism when Zach Robinson was hired to be the offensive coordinator in Atlanta as being someone coming over from the Rams that could potentially unlock Kyle Pitts. But that did not happen in 2024. Keep in mind that Kyle Pitts is also entering a contract year. So this year, upcoming season in 2025, is going to be incredibly important when it comes to not only Kyle Pitts' money and what he could get on the open market, but also if he'll be back in the fold with the Falcons in 2026.
And lastly, there, Jordan, I guess we want to get your thoughts on head coach Callahan and his 4 H's and doing all these things with the team and getting leadership involved. I actually liked a lot of the ideas. I don't know about you, so I just wonder, what was your perspective?
Yeah, 4 H's sounds incredibly personal. I don't know if I'd be willing to share all of that with my teammates just right off the bat before training camp. But here's my thing. I don't actually have a hot take on it. I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's silly. I'm at the same time, I do wonder, how good it is for camaraderie. I think it's good for camaraderie, and I think it's good to get to know your teammates. But I don't know if it's something that is necessarily going to make or break your season. But I will say, for the people out there who are making fun of it and who think it's kind of stupid, I disagree with that vehemently. I think that the Titans are really trying to shake up things when it comes to establishing leadership in the locker room, because whatever happened in 2024 clearly did not work. You were the worst team in football, and Brian Callahan had to take active measures to establish his culture and put a foot forward in terms of doing that. And this is kind of a game plan that he landed on. So if he thinks it's the best course of action, then I'm all for it.
Jordan, we really appreciate it. Of course, that's Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. We go around the NFL with him. Have a good Memorial Day weekend.
Hey, you too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit of a revenge game that's on the menu for the Tennessee Volunteers and Vanderbilt Commodores baseball. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 26 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we're now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. It's pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn of his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com. I always tell them Blaine, said ya.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Big revenge game coming up this weekend as Tennessee baseball and Vanderbilt baseball will meet just 13 days later at Hoover, Alabama, for when number 8 seed Tennessee and number 4 seed Vanderbilt will play on May 24th. Noon Central Standard Time on the SEC Network in baseball. And both have had their, Vanderbilt has been on a tear. Tennessee been really good in the playoffs so far in the SEC playoffs. Where do you think, do you think this is a kind of a truth-telling game for these two teams? Like if Vanderbilt is really, if they're really a team that can compete at the next tournament and all this kind of stuff, and can Tennessee maintain some kind of consistency? Because it's been a while since they've won 3 big games in a row, and they have a chance to do that this weekend against Vanderbilt.
Well, we're looking for a storyline. I don't know if that's a storyline. Vanderbilt has always been really good. They haven't been in the elite category here for the last 2 or 3 years, but they're a really good team. And then now they've shown this year they can play a lot more consistent, unlike Tennessee, who's been inconsistent until this tournament started, the SEC tournament. And they've looked like world beaters and shown that they could come from behind from, some failures, some bad, plays, let's say, some errors, which they did against Texas. And then they got some great pitching. So I think, I don't know if it really means who owns the state or anything like that. I think both are really good and both have a shot of winning it all. It's just a matter of Tennessee can just be consistent throughout a game. And they show now they've gotten hot. And in baseball, when you get hot, it's kind of contagious. So can they go against the Mr. Consistent, Vandy, the Doors? And, man, it's going to be a battle. I have no idea who's going to win it. Who are the starting pitchers? Do we know? I know they don't play for it. Do we know?
Not sure yet.
Not yet? Okay. Yeah, so I saw the Arverson guy. He did a really good job. I want to say that was one of his best performances, if not the best performance, the reliever there for UT.
Is that number 7?
Yeah.
Last night? Is that the guy that I said that looked like Will Levis?
Yeah,
He did look like Will Levis. You were on Benadryl. You may have thought it was Will Levis.
So, he did a good job. I think it was like 5.5 innings. I don't know. I think he had like 9 strikeouts or something. He played really well. So I thought that was a difference. Then naturally when it went to extra innings, they became clutch. So they've shown here recently over the last 3 games, Tennessee, man, I like what I see. Jackson, what you like what you see?
I'm liking what I've seen out of Tennessee in the SEC tournament, and I just think this is going to be a heavyweight fight because these two teams already don't like each other. They showed that at the end of Game 3 in Knoxville. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the SEC tournament when we look back on it.
I agree. Tennessee beat Texas last night 7-5. And then they were took down the top seed, and then Vanderbilt topped number 12 seed Oklahoma 6-1. So I look at this, and let me ask you this from the fan perspective, Jackson. If Tennessee were to lose this game against Vanderbilt, does that change any kind of optimism you have for them in the actual NCAA tournament? Because I feel like they maybe have shown some things these last 2 games where, okay, you got something you can latch on to even if you lose.
So if Tennessee, it depends on how they lose, in my opinion. If it's a 4-5 game and, Tennessee doesn't come out on the right end of it, no. I think, Tennessee plays well, but if they get run out of Hoover like that, then, that changes the perspective of how you look at this team going into regionals as more of the same of what we saw at the tail end of SEC play.
Yeah, I think how you lose sometimes, I just think it's a little bit different in baseball. I know from a fan perspective, but I'm always going to give from the athlete's perspective. You know what? Guess what? If you lose by 1 or you lose by 10 runs, guess what?
You still lost.
You still lost. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's about how you respond to that. And are they mentally good enough to respond in a positive manner? They've shown now signs that they are consistent, man. I think Tennessee is the most dangerous team right now. I don't think anybody would want to play them. They took down number 1 Texas.
Yeah, and to be honest with you,
you gotta watch what they're doing now. So if I'm Vandy, I'm like, dang, we gotta play them. Then they got a little air of cockiness. Started with their coach, and so you want bad blood here because they know how Tennessee is going to be. They're going to be cocky and arrogant. That's just their style. So you always want to take those guys down. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know, man. This is going to be a good one. I'm hoping it goes down to the wire, and it is a close one just for semantics for all of us watching. I want to see a good game.
Well, you talk about the mental toughness, seeing how they respond to adversity. We've seen them struggle with a couple of these series down the stretch.
Having errors.
But even in against Alabama,
they did.
You thought at one point that Alabama was just going to win and get them. And what happened is that Tennessee, their bats got hot and they responded. They never felt like they were out of it. And it felt like watching the game last night. Yeah. Even when things got tight, they never felt out of it, and all of a sudden they get that hit, and they got 2 runs going in at the top of the 12th, and then they close it out in the bottom of the 12th. And to me, I look at it and I go, that is a team that is getting hot at the right time and believes in itself and is banding together, and it still has 2 of the best players in the country. Maybe they're from Ole Miss, but Andrew Fisher and Liam Doyle that are there, and they're still waiting in the wings. Now they got Vandy coming up at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on SEC Network. Unfortunately, I'm going to see Mission Impossible movie during that time.
Oh, that's what's
so I'm going to have to. But it's a baseball game, so the Mission Impossible movie will end, and I'm sure it'll just be the 3rd inning after 3 hours.
Who has more pressure, Tennessee or Vandy?
Tennessee, because they're fighting for a hosting spot.
I disagree. I think it's Vandy has more pressure. Because I think Vandy doesn't want to be little brother right now. And I know they've proven that they can go toe-to-toe. But I think losing this game puts a little bit more pressure on Vandy because they are the number 4 seed. They are going against an in-state rival. They looked really good the last 2 games they played against Tennessee, and they need to keep that momentum going. Because I'm afraid, not that I don't believe in the players or don't believe in the coach or anything in their standard, but in baseball, you hit a cold streak. What if this starts to cold streak? So I think Vandy is under a little bit more pressure because I think UT can still rebound. They've shown that they can rebound. I just worry that Vandy's under more pressure. What about you?
Yeah, if I'm just go by the rankings, Vandy's 4, Tennessee is 8. The pressure's on the team that's ranked higher, and they've been more consistent throughout. So if you were a gambling man, you bet for Vandy. So the pressure's on them.
Yeah.
I think it's because even if Vandy loses this game, they're still going to host a regional and a super regional. Tennessee would probably have to go on the road for both of those if they lose tomorrow.
So you don't think they'll get a regional game just after where they're at now? No?
I think there's a chance they come in ranked 21. You need to get to 16 to host. So it's possible. But if Tennessee wins, their resume is much better than another team, vying for that last regional spot. Where if Vandy loses, they still have the whole postseason in front of them and most likely home field advantage until Omaha.
All right, let's just do a straight up pick 'em. I'm going UT.
I don't know, Jackson. You go. I know you're going UT, right?
Vols.
Ooh, I'm going with the hot team. I'm going with the Vols.
There you go. We're clean sweep. Joseph said that he's going for Vanderbilt, so I just want that on the record. Vanderbilt baseball, he's picking them to win by 3 runs. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
What? It is 2 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The NBA Conference Finals roll on as in the West. The OKC Thunder took down the Minnesota Timberwolves 118-103 to take a 2-0 series lead as that series heads to Minnesota for games 3 and 4 tonight. The Eastern Conference Finals game 2 is the Pacers take on the Knicks. Pacers hold a 1-0 series lead in NYC. Tip-off set for 7 p.m. Tennessee baseball continues in the SEC tournament as after their 7-5 extra innings win over 1-seed Texas yesterday, they will play 4-seed Vanderbilt at noon tomorrow in the semifinals. In the MLB, Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr. returns to action tonight as the Braves take on the Padres in Atlanta. First pitch scheduled for 6:15 p.m. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And it's time for the first annual, maybe this is probably going to be the only annual, Tennessee Titans flag football team draft. All-time Tennessee Titans.
I know. I just thought of this. Get ready for the draft. Music.
Look at that. He's a producer that is on the roll right now.
He's on fire right now. He's about as good as Arvidsson was last night for the UT.
There you go. There you go. So here are the rules. We're going to start with the offense. We have 5 rounds because it's 5-on-5. So we'll do 5 offensive players in this round for each team. You guys will be able to vote on it over at Blaine and Zach on Twitter, ZACH. For those that still do not know how to spell my name in the chat, I see misspell it all the time. And cover 2, we'll put up a graphic, we'll put up a poll, we'll see who has the best draft out of the 3 of us. Ross was too scared, is that what it was? Or is he says he's got a quote-unquote scheduling conflict?
Yes, he says scheduling conflict, but he is shaking in his boots.
Tough scene for Ross. All right, so it'll be me, Jackson, Blaine, in that order. It will be a snake draft. All-time Titans team, you're going to get them in their Titans prime. And I have the first overall pick, and the pick is in. For the first pick for the Lions, let's call it the Nashville Lions, I guess, right now.
No.
It will be Chris Johnson, CJ2K, running back. I figure with his speed, because I'm looking at it from this perspective. Now, listen, he can also catch the ball out of the backfield as well. You cannot, per league rules for the flag football, there is a no run zone within 5 yards of each end zone, so you will not be able to run it there. So I'm going to go with Chris Johnson to get me a 70-yard run right from the get-go. So Chris Johnson is my first pick. Jackson, the pick is to you.
And the pick is in as I am going to take wide receiver A.J. Brown out of Ole Miss. I think his contested catch ability, he's one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL currently. I think he is a great first-round selection and a great addition to my flag football team.
What do you think about that one? I have a little, and Blaine, I have a little bit of misgivings about A.J. Brown because I feel like he's a guy that will catch the ball then immediately get his flag pulled.
Oh, I don't know. That's up to him. If he made a bad choice on his draft.
Yeah, I mean, I just was going to analyze it just a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know. Some guys who are great football players may maybe not be just great,
Yeah, flag football.
I think that's what you mentioned. I don't know. Maybe he'll just run people over.
You never know. All right, what you got, Blaine?
Oh, man. I got some options here, but I think I have a few seconds here.
Yeah, and you get 2 picks back to back, remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm going to I'm ready. My pick is in. A surprise pick here by most. A lot of disgruntled fans don't like him, but he was great. Adam Pac-Man Jones!
Oh.
Curveball!
That is a curveball. I like it. Adam Pac-Man Jones. Yeah. Now, why him with your first overall pick?
Because he could play defensive back, he could return kicks. So obviously, him returning kicks means he's an offensive guy. Yeah. So he not only return kicks and punts, but that means he could be my slot guy and jitterbuggy guy in the slot. So this guy, and if I want to motion him in the backfield, he's the only guy probably that could. I would definitely CJ2K would have been my number one pick.
Man, I like that is a great pick. That's a sneaky pick right there. What do you think about that pick, Jackson? Because I did not have Pac-Man Jones anywhere on my big board, to be honest with you.
He was also not on my big board for offense. I was thinking next I might be able to get him in the first round.
See, you thought too much in a box because Blaine said he's going to play him both ways.
Yeah.
And kick return. I didn't think about kick return. Love it. Yeah. All right, what's your next pick?
All right, I do have, but now I'm debating. But I can't. He's the all-time leading receiver in Titans history. I got to go with Derek Mason.
D-Mace, I like it. All right, Jackson, the pick is to you.
Blaine took mine, so I'm gonna take a quick second.
I didn't even get my music. I guess it was for the other.
I'm gonna take my quarterback.
We'll go back around in the third round. Do it. You do then who?
I'm going with quarterback Vince Young out of Texas.
Young.
I think his athleticism. I think the freestyling in his game. I think in flag football will translate really well onto the field, and we're excited to add him back here.
I like it. That is really good. All right, my second round pick is going to be your boy. You've been talking about him almost all offseason, Drew Bennett. Okay. I'm going with the super athleticism, the guy that is super tall, super fast. I'm going Drew Bennett as my wide receiver, and we go into the third round.
Yeah, I'm pissed you got Drew. I got him right here on my list. That's why I said
Drew Bennett. Okay, so the pick is in on the third round. And I'm going to go with a wide receiver that probably nobody has thought about. Maybe you have, Blaine.
I thought I get to go back to back.
No, you already went back to back. Now I go back to back and we circle back around. Crap. Justin McCareins is going to be my other wide receiver.
Okay.
An explosive wide receiver, had the speed, the deep speed and everything. So I'm going Justin McCareins because I will in flag football, I want people that can go by people that can move in a phone booth. I want it all. So I'm going Justin McCareins. The pick is to you, Jackson.
I'm going to go with a receiver who only spent 2 seasons in Tennessee, but he made a big impact. I'm going with another contested catch guy. We'll get our slot guy eventually, but we're going with DeAndre Hopkins. We're trying to throw jump balls. I'm going to have VY. AJ or D-Hop is down there somewhere. I'm going DeAndre Hopkins.
I like it. All right, Blaine. You get 2 picks back to back now.
Okay, I'm ready. I am going with Doorknob. People don't know who Doorknob is. I will tell you, Samari Rowe.
I love it. Now, why is he called Doorknob?
Because he was so skinny, he could squeeze through a doorknob. I don't know. That's what they used to call him.
I love it. All right, so you're going to play him on offense too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He was going both ways. People don't know this at practice until he hurt his neck. And then the coaches decided his rookie year that we're just going to leave him on defense because we don't want it to affect at least he was more of a
I like it.
He could play both ways. He would have been on the Travis Hunter level.
I like it. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome to see. I like it. All right, your other pick in the 4th round.
Okay, hold on. Let me circle my guys. I only have 3 guys right now, so.
Yep. You got Adam Pac-Man Jones, Derek Mason, Samari Roll so far.
Watch this. Curveball.
Okay.
Once again.
You're the king of the curveball.
I don't know if you know the name. You know who he is. His hands are huge. Javon Curse to get after the quarterback.
I like it. Javon Curse. So you got Javon.
Freak.
You got Adam Pac-Man Jones, Derek Mason, Samari Roll, Javon Curse.
Yeah, because I got to rush the passes flag football.
Yeah, that is true. Jackson, what is your next pick?
My next pick, I'm going running back, versatile back. If you can't get CJ2K, I think the most versatile back that I can think of right now is DeMarco Murray, running back for my team.
I like it. That's a pretty good pick.
DeMarco Murray.
Okay, so I go back to back, and this will end the first 5 rounds here. Okay, I'm going to go wide receiver again because I want to get my wide receivers out of the way. I'm going Kevin Dyson here, guy on the show, of course, Professor Dyson, or Dr. Dyson, I guess I should say. Going Kevin Dyson. So I got Chris Johnson, Drew Bennett, Justin McCarron's, and Kevin Dyson. So I'm going speed for days, route running for days. Got it? Because here's where I'm throwing my first curveball. My quarterback is getting picked right here, right now. And this is going to blow everybody's minds. I don't think anybody's prepared for it. I'm going Malik Willis as my quarterback for flag football.
I would be surprised, though. He's pretty good flag football.
I think with those wide receivers, that running back, and this particular quarterback, because once you rush, he can't run. He has 7 seconds to throw. He can't run out of the backfield unless he's getting pressured. So when Javon Kearse is coming for him, Malik Willis needs to keep his head on a swivel. But I'm going with Malik Willis right here because I thought about going another quarterback that was on this list, but I want the little bit of shiftiness that Malik Willis provides, and I want a little bit of excitement too. Like I want a little bit of I don't know what's going to happen on any of these plays, but Malik Willis could throw a deep bomb to Drew Bennett. Drew Bennett could just run under it. Same with Kevin Dyson. I'm going Malik Willis as my quarterback.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah,
what you got, Jackson?
My final selection is going to be an underrated Titans receiver. I don't think he gets enough love. It's Nate Washington. I was a huge fan of his growing up. And shout out Ross. He consulted with me on this selection.
You have an assistant GM in there?
I got Chad Brinker back here.
Yeah, you just got Brinkered? Is that what you're saying? That we need to bring Ross on the air to take your job?
I am Mike Berganzi.
He just got suspended for illegal tampering.
Ross, you're suspended the rest of the show.
Okay. You close us out the first 5 rounds and take us into commercial break with your final pick of these first 5 rounds.
Oh, man. This is tough. And nobody's going to have him on the list, but I'm still going to take him there just because of the respect I have for him. And in my mind, he's probably right there with the fastest of the fast. He was an Olympic alternate. That is Chris Sanders.
I like it. That's a good one. Chris Sanders is a good one. That will close out. So just to go, I got Chris Johnson, Drew Bennett, Justin McCarron's, Kevin Dyson, and Malik Willis. Because this is flag football. It's different than regular football for the people that are bashing my Malik Willis pick. Yeah. Just know that he's going to be scrambling around back there, and I'd rather have a little bit of scramble ability.
I like it.
And then Jackson's got A.J. Brown, Vince Young, DeAndre Hopkins, DeMarco Murray, Nate Washington. Blaine has Pac-Man Jones, Derek Mason, Samari Roll, Javon Kearse, and Chris Sanders so far. When we come back, we'll do another 5 rounds to complete our 10-team picks. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Yes, King and Associates Insurance in Brentwood stands out as independent agents, offering more than just a range of insurance options. They handpick the best companies, build strong relationships with industry leaders, and create customized bundling plans. And life throws you curveballs, and they get it. And my friend and coworker switched from another independent agent and got superior coverage for his home, his contents, and his cars, and experienced clear communication and had an independent agent where he got superior coverage for his home, right? And truly was amazing. And communication is always vital when having insurance. And he had a truly, ally when his 16-year-old daughter had an accident, saving him thousands compared to his old, overpriced agent. And you could save even more by switching. So don't get just, go with them because I do or anyone else does. Just do it because you should do it because it makes sense for your family, your business, and personal needs. So always give them a call at 615-321-8121. That's Kings and Associates. Go check them out online at tkinginsurance.com to keep your money in your pocket.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Jackson saw a couple of people call in. Did they just want to call in and tell us that we're stupid for
draft tips?
Draft tips. So what is so you're getting draft tips back there, not sharing with the class? Do you have a whole scouting department back there?
I do. We have a scouting team.
You give us compensation picks, so you lose 2 picks.
I need a full roster. You guys get first priority on all UDFAs.
There you go. Oh. All right, so we have picked. We've gone through the first 5 rounds of the first annual all-time Titans flag football draft, and we're going to start the next 5 because we got to have 5 offensive players and 5 defensive players. You may have a few that you can play both sides. That's fine. So the pick is in with the first pick of the I guess 6th round of the draft. And I'm selecting Adoree Jackson A guy that can also play both ways. A guy that is super athletic and would probably be really good at flag football because he doesn't like contact. So I'm going to Adoree Jackson here as my first pick. He'll be able to play defense if some of these guys get injured. He can fill in on offense when necessary, and he can return kicks.
Good one.
There you go. Jackson?
My first defensive selection in the 6th round is going to be cornerback Alteron Werner, a lockdown corner for the Titans in, I believe, 2013 and 2014. And I'm excited to see what he can do in flag football.
Interesting. Alteron Werner, like it. Not bad. Not a bad choice to open it up. Blaine,
Man, I'm
back-to-back picks here.
Yeah. Oh, back-to-back. Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm conflicted where I'm going with this one between two different players in my mind. I don't want to be just because he threw it to himself, I'm going with Marcus Mariota
I like it.
as my quarterback.
So our three quarterbacks, Jackson has Vince Young, you have Marcus Mariota, and I have Malik Willis. I am definitely not winning the poll, by the way. I've conceded that, but I will win championships. I may not win the poll, may not win the popularity contest, but I will win championships with my team. Go ahead, Blaine. What's your next pick?
Oh, I get to go back-to-back?
Yep.
Oh, man. Oh, man. I'm going with another great lockdown corner. You guys picked these other quarterbacks over him? Cortland Finnegan.
I was hoping to get him later.
That was my next pick.
Gosh, thank you.
Oh, man. I was going to go for Cortland next, too. I had to take Adoree because he could play both ways, but I was really going to go Cortland Finnegan this next round. Jackson, who you got?
I'm going to go with a safety. Somebody who can, a free safety, somebody who can roam the back end of the defense. And I'm going to go with Michael Griffin, Titans' first-round pick in 2007.
Great player.
You know, with me coaching this team and also being general manager, I have a lot on my plate. And I'm going to get me a defensive back that can run the defense, make sure everybody's in their spots, can call the plays that I fully, explicitly trust to run this defense. So the pick is in for myself. I'm going Blaine Bishop.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
man. He knows how to smooth out with people. I don't even have me on my draft.
If anybody can get Adoree Jackson in the right spot and utilize it, it's going to be Blaine Bishop.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, and he's going to rely on his brains. He's going to sniff out the plays, keep that defense in line. I don't need a defensive coordinator because I got a built-in one right here. And guess what? His running mate back there is going to be the mayor of Murfreesboro, Kevin Byard. I'm putting Kevin Byard and Blaine Bishop out there in that defensive backfield with Adoree Jackson. We got the brains, we got the athleticism, we got the ball hawks. We got it all in that defensive backfield. So Kevin Byard
was already taken?
Nope, Byard was not taken.
I don't know, but you just took him.
I just took him.
Oh,
Jackson,
man.
the pick is to you.
So in flag football, you can rush the passer, and with Marcus Mariota and Malik Willis, I think against them, I want a bigger guy chasing them down. I'm going with Albert Hainsworth at defensive tackle. He's going to rush the middle of the pocket.
Let me say something. Now, you know they have to line 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage.
He'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Albert Hainsworth for Jackson. Blaine, back-to-back picks.
I don't even have to check that off my list here to make sure. Here, I got my 2 corners. How many corners? You need like 3 corners.
You can have as many corners as you want because really, Blaine, when you really think about it, you need one pass rusher and everybody else is going to be in coverage more than likely.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, dang it. Oh, man. Maybe I'll go with a converted free safety because I don't have my ball hawk.
Don't do it.
Jason McCourty to the free safety like he did in New England. Yeah, I'm taking that guy.
Yeah, that's a good one. He was on my list. He made it. You get another pick.
All right. Okay, where am I going next?
So let me just refresh you real quick. You got Pac-Man Jones, Samari Roll, Javon Curse, Cortland Finnegan, Jason McCourty. So technically you have 5 defenders, but you could still go for more because you got some of these guys playing both ways. And you got Derek Mason and Marcus and Chris Sanders on offense.
Yeah, this pick may surprise guys on this one, man. This is a curve. People forget he even played for the Titans.
Ooh.
And he was a first-round pick. You can like him, you cannot. But I think he will be a great flag football player, and that's on the offensive side.
Isaiah Wilson.
A guy named, he is always right, Kendall Wright.
Oh.
Ooh, I like that, Blaine.
I like it. Joseph had brought up Kendall Wright, and I was like, well, I want a guy that can actually stay on his feet, but I like it. All right, Jackson, you're up.
Oh, man.
I want a linebacker who in the middle of my defense, good at pass coverage.
Oh, no.
The mayor or the Mr. Monday Night, not the mayor. Mr. Monday Night, Keith Bullock added to the squad.
Man, I just got sniped on that one.
I was just about to take him on my Kendall Wright, but then you broke it all down where I need some offensive players.
That one got sniped right from underneath me. So I'm going with a rookie on this next pick because I may not like the pick necessarily, but I love how fast and explosive he is on tape. And I do need a pass rusher, and that's all he's got to worry about is just rushing a passer and getting that flag. And I'm going Femi Oladejo right here.
The guy you've trashed this whole time.
Hey, it's flag football. I got to build a winner. I'm going Femi Oladejo.
Man.
Femi Oladejo. Man, you really threw me a loop because I really thought I was going to be able to get Keith Bullock right there.
Yeah.
And I really, really wanted Keith because he was going to be able to fill a couple different needs. And then you took Jason McCourty. That was another one that hurt. So I'm really conflicted because I obviously need another defender. And I'm trying to figure out, do I want to go linebacker? Do I want to go with edge? Or do I want to go with another defensive back? And I think I'm going to settle with another defensive back. And I'm going to go with another safety because I need some people to cover some tight ends and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I want a guy that can cover anybody. And I'm going to go Amani Hooker as my last one because he's got some athletic. I built a team of athletes because in flag football, sometimes athleticism and shiftiness is a little bit more important than skill and history. So I'm going Amani Hooker right there. And I know I will be dead last in the popularity contest that is our poll. Jackson, your last pick.
No, Blaine is the last pick. But my last pick is going to be one of my favorite Titans secondary times was my man catch no balls. And I feel like I want to add one of those guys to the squad. Malcolm Butler has a clutch factor, a really nice man-to-man corner, and that is who I want on my team for my last pick.
I like it. All right, Blaine.
Man, this one here this is killing me.
Do you need me to run through your team one more time?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, on defense, you have Adam Pac-Man-Jones, Samari Roll, Javon Curse, Cortland Finnegan, Jason McCourty. On offense, you have Derek Mason, Chris Sanders, Marcus Mariota, and Kendall Wright.
Yeah, this one here. I'm going to be able to keep the chains moving. Whenever we need a catch, we know why Tech always gets it done.
I like it. You are for sure going to win. I just want you to know that. It's a good team, but you are for sure going to win the poll vote.
Show up, man.
You got to show up. Man. So there we go. So just to wrap it all up, in the first part of our draft, I went Chris Johnson, Drew Bennett, Justin McCarron, Kevin Dyson, and Malik Willis. And then in the second part, I went Adoree Jackson, Blaine Bishop, Kevin Byard, Femi Oladejo, and Amani Hooker. Jackson went A.J. Brown, Vince Young, DeAndre Hopkins, DeMarco Murray, Nate Washington, then Alteron Werner, Michael Griffin, Albert Hainsworth, Keith Bullock, and Malcolm Butler. And then, Blaine, you went Adam Pac-Man-Jones, Derek Mason, Samari Roll, Javon Curse, Chris Sanders, Marcus Mariota, Cortland Finnegan, Jason McCourty, Kendall Wright, Frank Wycheck. So there we go. Mm-hmm. That is our first annual and probably our only annual.
And I want to
flag football
clarify
draft.
when I went Mariota because I may put him at receiver too.
I like it. Well, who would throw the ball at that instance?
Oh yeah, you forgot. Mr. Frank Wycheck has
Oh,
thrown
that's
numerous
true.
passes before in games. Look at it. Oh,
That's
Jackson
true.
knows. Yeah.
And Marcus has a receiving touch, 2 receiving touchdowns in his career.
That is true. You know, there you go. I like it.
Some deep ball. It wasn't
I like
was
it.
a
You
little
got a
fight.
lot. Let me say something. You got versatility.
And that's what do I always say I like about my
You
players.
always like to have versatility.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these players because that was a fun little game.
Yeah, well, I was trying to justify.
Yeah.
I didn't get air because I really wanted air, but I was like, I want to
Yeah,
win.
no Steve McNair, no Eddie George. We are going to get flamed for not having either of those.
Well, I
but
would've went
this
air.
is flag football.
But he done air and Eddie. There's no need to run over anybody.
Yeah.
So then, okay, what value you gonna say he could just throw and maneuver in the pocket? Most running back, you watch Derrick Henry in the flag football games, he was a non-factor in the with the Pro Bowl and all that other stuff. So I thought, man, a power guy really doesn't really make sense in these flag football. So
and I've seen a couple of people
painting.
put out some Houston Oilers. We just kept it Tennessee Titans era to just make it easy and more fun. So that's why you probably don't see some of the other guys. I would probably have drafted Warren Moon, for instance.
Oh, yeah, he would have been a great, boo.
Okay, so speaking, because that was a fun game.
It really was.
The Tennessee Titans are playing games. They're keeping up a scoreboard right now over at practice. And I think there's a good conversation to be had because we talked a little bit about it. There seems to be a lot of people that don't understand the point of these games because they're having a hard time to figuring out how does it directly translate. How does rock, paper, scissors directly translate to, no false starts or whatever. So for instance, just to clarify what these games are, there's everybody split into teams. I think there's 8 teams. Everybody has 2 team captains. There's team building exercises, but also your team is also ranked and the individual players are given points for false starts, for touchdowns, for dropped passes and all this stuff. So like you're deducted points for a dropped pass, you're deducted points for a false start, for any penalty, you're deducted points. It's not just those games that these teams are for, but it's to build a sense of camaraderie. Is to build a sense of maybe some self-accountability among teammates. Because if you're on a team, Blaine, and you're a competitive person, I know I'm a competitive person, I don't care what game it is. If there's points involved, I want to be number one. and if I saw a teammate that's continually to false start, let's say it was NPF, like he did you for every false start, you get negative points, right? Yeah. And if I saw that he was hurting our team, obviously, he sees that he's hurting the team, but the points are up there for everybody to see. And if I was a teammate, I would be on him like white on rice, trying to get him to get his head in the game because that's also helps breed that kind of leadership and accountability during the games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you can do things at practice too, based off of last season where there was somebody like that being false start or holding or just continuous. I remember when we first got here, Jeff would have different groups run because they kept getting all the penalties. Mm-hmm. Not only, and the guy who actually got the penalties and kept getting them, he stands there and watch your group run. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I've always enjoyed that form of punishment.
Yeah, and then the guy's coming around and you look at him like, dang, man, you feel like a little ant. You feel like you have let the team down. Not that y'all run as a group. You made everybody else in your group run. So, so you let them down. And so everybody's going to be, holding you accountable from that point forward, which is, it's always tough. But it's also fun in the same time. It's not like somebody's trying to discipline somebody. It's about, hey, man, we're a unit. Hey, you hurt the whole unit and not just yourself getting a penalty. You hurt the team. So, I always love those different things. So that's why I said I love what he's doing. Now, whether it work or not, I don't know. But when it comes to bonding, accountability, chemistry, communication, I think is really key for this generation of players as well as focus. I think because a lot of them, you're on your phone all the time. You just, nobody's really talking, So hey, you do your job. Oh, well, no, do your job. Let's make sure we're on the same page. And then it becomes you don't even have to say anything. You can just look at each other like, yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. So once you get to that level, then you elevate your whole entire team or your group. And you start playing at a whole nother level. And then you kind of play within the scheme of the defense. And then the weaknesses and everything else. And you kind of go on your own, and make some plays, and because you're comfortable in what you're doing and not just being a robot doing exactly what the defense say do or the offense says do. There's some parts of the game players have to take control of it once you're on the field within the scheme. Yeah.
Well, you talk about, the short attention spans, the people being on their phones. This is a kind of a way to keep everybody engaged, keep the energy up and all that kind of stuff. Because this is a generation of, and I'm on probably the tail end of it, but I'm still in that kind of generation that had all these screens, right? We were the first ones that probably were told to go outside because of the computer. Get off the computer, go outside. We had all the video game systems and grew up with it. So it's just gotten worse from there. I mean, I think most of the generation had some form of ADHD, it felt like. Everybody was on Adderall and all that kind of stuff. So to keep players engaged, this is a good system to do it, but it's also to teach accountability, keep players accountable and all this kind of stuff. And I look at it also like looking at this team, there's so many, again, second year in a row where there feels like there's so many new faces.
Yes.
48 new players on this team. Young, old, defense, offense, special teams, vets.
Man, you only keep 53.
I know. So there's 48 new ones on this 91-man roster they currently have because they don't have to be 90 yet. I guess they don't, or there's maybe
you
like
assume that half of them are going to be new once it's all said and done.
So many new players, and we've talked about the edge room, right? The only guys that are there from last year's edge group is two people, Jalen Harrell. Well, I guess Allie Gay's there too, but Jalen Harrell and Arden Key and Allie Gay. The rest of those guys are all new. There's like 3 or 4 new guys, and then it's to really when you put them in all of these other things. When you're talking about this is also a way for everybody to get to know each other. And I know I've personally called the 4-H's hokey, but they can be effective. And I'm going to take this to a weird route real quick. Okay. I watch a lot of reality show competitions. And within like the first 2 or 3 days, someone gets voted out or whatever on someone's team. And then they're all crying and they're all emotional about it. And I'm always been like, until I've started working here with you and kind of understood a little bit more about that locker room mentality, they're all crying, but they also spend 24 hours a day with each other in an isolated environment. So when they're not doing these competitions, they're getting to know each other on a personal level. And these 4-H's allow these people to get to know each other on a personal level, these players, in an accelerated fashion because they're not spending 24 hours a day together like they are on those competition shows. So it's building that camaraderie. And again, it may not translate to wins, but maybe it translates to a better disciplined football team. That just because you're disciplined doesn't mean you win, but it may do that. It may look like a team that is fighting for each other tooth and nail every week, something that we can visibly see. Now, is it because of these things or whatever? We will know maybe from what players say and stuff, but right now the players seem to be responding to it very well. We'll see what it means for the team, but this all makes sense from a standpoint of trying to build something different than what you had last year. And I wish this was stuff that they would have done last year. I'm with you on that boat. I wish this was stuff they would have done last year at the offseason. You live and you learn. I don't like having to take so many mistakes to learn from them. But at the end of the day, as long as you learn from them and hopefully correct them to some extent, then everything is fine.
Well,
hopefully.
It's just really hard. I think coaching is a little bit different than when, I was playing. And I think, we had fights, but it also brought us closer together. I mean, there's just different things. It's no different than you and your brother at home. So I think now they don't want anybody to fight or, this is all this part that to me, it brings you separate and then you get back together and say, hey, man, my bad. A day go by or later in that day. So it's just a little different because they don't want that kind of action anymore. To me, I think it helps. And these things that he is doing is helping too. So I just don't know if it will ever be where we see it in the wins.
Yeah.
But I sure hope it does. Over the long haul, it will. Because sometimes you learn, hey, man, my guy's hurting out here. We need to, rise up just for him. I'm going to say one more other thing. And this is kind of been on my mind a little bit. Guys not being in a huddle, that matters. And the people going to think that's
Now, what do you
silly
mean
talk.
by that?
I know you think that's silly talk. Well, guess what? Well, most of the offense all the time now are looking to the side, at least in college.
Gotcha.
And so now all of a sudden, now you're in the pros, you are in a huddle, right?
Yeah.
So then they don't understand. They still thinking, oh, I should be looking to the sideline. No, only time you should be looking to the sideline, at least to be looking at down and distance, understanding why the call that's coming in is coming in, and then what we're trying to accomplish on this play. So it brings a bond that you can have. You can look at somebody in the eyes and be like, hey, man, we need to turn it up a notch. I mean, I don't know how many times we had different guys say stuff like that from when I was a young player to when I was the guy saying that.
Yeah.
So, and I learned from them. So sometimes, it just needs to bring you closer. It's like being in that huddle. And we just a tight group, and we will not be penetrated.
It's like being in the trenches, right?
Yeah, I mean, the trenches is in.
Well, I mean, talk about war trenches.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, like being in that area where your guys are so close together.
And I think that's what he's trying to accomplish here.
And I think that's
this is the time to do it. By the way,
Yes.
I mean, you can't do this in training camp. We got to get ready.
You're right. And these little events, the rock, paper, scissors, or tug of war, those are at the end of practice.
Yeah.
And you're not cutting into anything, but these point systems do extend to what actually is being done on the field. It being done on these drills, on these false starts. Well, I don't know how far he's going to carry it into the offseason. If it's going to get carried into 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s at training camp, maybe not the little of games at the end, but maybe the point system continues. But to me, try something, anything, because what you did last year didn't work, and we would be killing Brian Callahan if he just came in and did the same thing, and kind of like we killed Marcus when he said, well, what are you changing this offseason? Well, I'm not changing anything. Like, I mean, if Brian Callahan got up to the podium and say, oh, we're doing the same thing we did last year, I'd be like, I'm out, fire that guy.
And it's some of it's because he was a first-time coach, not just first-time head coach. It was like, I think he made some assumptions that were already there that weren't there.
Right.
And that's, maybe he took someone's word. That's why everybody, don't just trust somebody's word. Go verify what was said. Verify it. If you don't see it, then it ain't there. I don't care what they said. Verify.
We'll talk more about the Tennessee Titans when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Guys, if something's holding you back from performing at your best, it's time to do something about it with performance enhancement treatment packages from Edge Peptide. So whether you're in the gym or on the course, with Edge Peptide and hormone therapy, you can show up stronger, feeling better, recover faster, and stay in the game longer. And you know what I mean. You get to boost your energy, build lean muscle mass, and heal from those nagging injuries, because I still have some myself. And as an athlete myself, I know how those injuries can affect your game. So if you're struggling with joint pain, suffering from a recent injury, or looking to recover faster after surgery, Edge has you covered. From peptide packages to PRP, stem cells, and high-field muscle stimulation, Edge is your exclusive Nashville area peptide specialist. And don't wait till summer to feel your best. And don't trust your health to some online pharmacy, Jackson. And remember, at Edge, your consultation fee of $250 is waived with your initial order. And all you have to do is just go to edgepeptide.com. That's edgepeptide.com, or you can give a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Two Rivers Ford announces employee pricing for everyone. Every tradesman, every dad, every rising star. You pay what we pay. Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned. American made.
Last call for phone calls here on Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Of course, we have the F&M Bank Chat on Zone TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. And just to cap it off, Memorial Day is coming on this weekend, and I want to throw a movie take out at you guys and see what you guys think. You know, Jack, is Ross still here? If Ross is still here, he could participate.
Suspended until further notice.
Okay. But Blaine Jackson, I think the Mission Impossible movie franchise is the best franchise in movie history. Now, I think John Wick is on its way.
Mission Impossible game.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's the entire franchise of Mission Impossible movies. So from Mission Impossible 1 to now Final Reckoning, it's banger after Mission Impossible 2, a little rough. It does not age well either. I
remember it now.
That's the one where he's riding a motorcycle and he's in Australia.
He jumped off the cliff?
Yeah, he jumped off.
That was pretty good.
No, you're thinking of the last one. This one was the one where he kicks up the gun in the sand and he pulls around. It had Limp Bizkit as the theme song. Not a good movie. Does not hold up. We watched it recently, but all the other movies are top-notch movies. And I think John Wick is well on its way, but I think it's the best movie franchise.
Best movie franchise? Where are you
Yeah.
at with this? I have no idea.
Best movie franchise. That's tough, Zach. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I love Star Wars, but there are a lot of clunkers in the Star Wars universe.
I'm a big Marvel guy, too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of clunkers in the Marvel. And see, you'd have to split it up with the Captain America franchise or the
They really did.
and all that.
Now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Spider-Man doesn't miss.
The Amazing Spider-Mans did, but I would say, there's only 3 movies, so we guys keep going, right? There's longevity, guys, that plays into this, right? Because we're talking about 8 Mission Impossible movies. 8 movies and only 1 clunker.
Only one clunker?
Only 1 clunker. That is a pretty good hit rate. Star Wars has like 3 clunkers.
Watch this. I'm going to date my age because I just watched it again the other night. Well, I couldn't fall asleep. Rocky Creed.
Okay, so here's a hot take. I think the Creed movies are better than the Rocky movies.
They kind of interest me. I'm like,
I
love the Creed movies.
Go back and you watch the Rocky, be like, oh man, that was so bad.
Yeah.
You know, but at the time they were really good, and now you watch the Creed ones, and I'm like, dang, this was it's creative. They they kind of kept it going.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I will say the Daniel Craig James Bond set of movies are really good, but I wouldn't put the whole James Bond franchise in there because, again, lots of clunkers for the James Bond movie franchise. But I would say that one is up there close. Like I said, I think John Wick is well on its way. Harry Potter is a good one. I will say Harry Potter should be in contention. We watch all those movies, but you got to be a certain demographic for those. I feel like Mission Impossible should appeal to all people.
I feel like the spin-off Harry Potter movies were terrible also.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
What did he say?
The spin-offs, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh.
My wife does not like those, and she's a big Harry Potter nerd, so she does not like those movies.
Did y'all ever watch Lord of the Rings?
Never have.
I haven't in a long time.
I remember that was pretty good when I was
They were pretty good. The last one with all the false endings, you know, the Return of the King, where it's like you thought the movie was over, and it's like
that's why I said it.
And I'm like, okay, we're about to leave, and then here's another one, and then here's another one, and then here's another one. I was like, ugh.
I think Fast and Furious had a case here until they sent Ludacris to space. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Fast and the Furious. That's one of the more fun ones, but I wouldn't say it's quality.
Ooh, I got one.
Okay,
Scream.
Ooh, the Screams are pretty good.
Scream hasn't missed.
Oh, the
Scream 3.
I love Scream 3. Scream 3 is actually one of my favorites.
I don't know about that one. The Scream movies could be up in contention. I love the Scream movies.
Right, just don't be. You brought in horror.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm going to bring in comedy. So what about like Toy Story or
that is pretty good. You know, they're about to do Toy Story 5.
Shrek is what I was thinking. Shrek.
I'm not a Shrek guy. They're all right. Like, I mean, I like Toy Story, and I know that is very unpopular. That's going to be very unpopular. That may be worse than any University of Tennessee take I have. But, like, they're all right. But I love Toy Story's good. I just never could get into Shrek for whatever reason. I love all the cartoons, like all the Pixar movies and all that kind of stuff.
I grew up loving Shrek.
That's all I got.
Shrek 4 missed.
We got Matrix listed in here. Guys, the Matrix movies kind of stink after the first one. I'd say the first one and the very last one are the only two ones that are bare. Indiana Jones, pretty good.
Stinkers.
But you got Legend of the Crystal Skull.
And the new one.
I like the new one better than I like Temple of Doom, but it would still be number 3.
We didn't mention Batman. They had some bad ones though.
Yeah. Well, I would say the Christopher Nolan Batmans. I will say this. Batman Begins does not hold up very well. I think it's a pretty weird, bad movie.
Yeah, it was. It turned me off.
Yeah. But Dark Knight kills. Dark Knight Rises. Awesome. Yes. Batman and Batman Returns is good. Then you got Batman Forever, dips down, all that kind of stuff.
Batman and Robin further down.
Oof. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's you guys have enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. I will be seeing Final Reckoning and hopefully going golfing on Sunday. Other than that,
I'll be on my yacht on Monday.
Yeah, he's on his yacht on Monday. You heard it right there. So 3HL is up next. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.